And live from Charles Koch Arena, it's Wichita State Volleyball on WSU TV as East Carolina comes calling, and the top-rated Wichita State Shockers completing their first run through the American. So far, so good. The Shockers will try to move to 10-0 in the standings. Shane Dennis along with Denning Gehrig here from the Roundhouse. The Shockers, after the game today, will be exactly halfway through their conference schedule. ECU, there you see them at the top, kind of top-heavy, the first four teams in the American. We'll get to that throughout the course of the match, too. Wichita State is 6-1 at home. Their only loss coming to nationally ranked Iowa State. This is the first all-time meeting between these two schools, one in a long string of matches, seemingly for Chris Lamb, that he had never faced before, so we'll get that out of the way here today. Friday night, Shockers beat Cincinnati. Denning and a lot of the usual suspects showed up for the Shockers, including a trio of seniors.
And three players who excelled in the three different phases of the game for Wichita State. Abby Lehman continued the absolutely absurd stretch that she has been on in conference play. Incredibly efficient as always. The .441 attack percentage to go along with 18 kills. Emily Hebert with 49 assists helped her on a majority of those 18 kills and moved into second all-time in Wichita State's assist rankings. Gabby Mostrom chipping in a career-high 16 digs as well as the back row for Wichita State continues to impress.
And, of course, Chris Lamb always mixes in a few different players as well. Michaela Raudsep had been really quiet the last 2 weekends. She came alive Friday, and then Abby Pugh followed suit as well.
Yeah, Chris Lamb has been very vocal about the need for Michaela Raudsep to be a big-time right-side hitter if Wichita State is going to do anything in the postseason this year, and she was absolutely that on Friday. As for Abby Pugh, a player who had only participated in 2 conference matches prior to Friday, Wichita State needed a boost off the bench. She came on in that second set, gave them some major offensive contributions, and also chipped in several big blocks as well.
So the Shockers and the Pirates coming up here this afternoon from the Roundhouse. Glad you could join us. We'll have the coaches, the starting lineups, and more when we come back.
For small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Welcome back to Charles Koch Arena, East Carolina and Wichita State, rounding out the first trip through the American for the Shockers. And ECU, Denning, is led by their version of Lehman and Hebert, a senior set up by a freshman. First, Lael Sirianni.
Yeah, Sirianni, a senior transfer from Tennessee Martin, really starting to settle into a rhythm as of late. She's got double-digit kills in each of her last 7 matches. And ECU kind of asks a lot defensively from their outside hitters, so expect her and Ashton Modest to play a big part in keeping Wichita State's big hitters at bay. As for Shelby Martin, she split time with Madison Clark at setter earlier this year, but ever since the start of conference play, it's kind of been Martin's show. The freshman plays a similar role to Emily Hebert, capable of going on the offensive in addition to her duties as a distributor.
As she hit .471 against Memphis and had 10 kills, she's had 2 matches in a row where she's had double-digit kills. So Wichita State getting set to take the floor. It'll be 18th year head coach Chris Lamb against 5th year head coach Julie Torbett for ECU. Not much was expected from ECU as far as the preseason rankings are concerned.
Picked way down towards the bottom of the American in the preseason, but they have really surprised some people, coming in at 15-6, 7-2 in conference play, and coming off of a season last year where they started so hot. They were 10-0, slipped eventually to 15-15. They have already matched their season wins total from a year ago.
There you see their starting lineup. Wichita State's Chris Lamb in his 18th season, just recently passed 400 victories in his illustrious career here at WSU. Again, chasing history, I suppose. That's putting the cart before the horse a little bit, but so far 9 for 9 in a brand new conference. And the second time through, this will mark the first at the halfway point, and only Memphis have we not seen. We'll see them twice in a week right around Thanksgiving. There's Chris's starting lineup. So we're just about ready for action. Glad you could join us here this afternoon. ECU to serve, and off we go. And off the slide, Wichita State couldn't have drawn it up much better for the first point of the set.
Well, that's a good sign to get Michaela Raudsep going early. Tabitha Brown was a little bit slow in getting things going offensively on Friday, and so it was Raudsep who needed to take up the burden on the outside, and she did just that.
She had 13 kills on Friday against Cincinnati. We talked in the very open that Raudsep had been relatively quiet the last 2 weekends as far as the attack percentage and total attacks, but she really woke up on Friday night. It's been kind of musical chairs a little bit. Tabitha Brown only had 7 kills, but here comes Raudsep with 13.
I think generally, though, what you should really pay attention to is just the fact that you can't focus on either one, because either one is capable of producing a big game at any given time.
And, of course, Abby Lehman with that most recent kill, back to her normal efficient ways in the middle. Raudsep with another kill, so 3 in a row by Wichita State. There have been a few trends in the first set of matches, especially here at home with some of these unfamiliar squads that we see, that they've hung around a little bit, and then Wichita State makes adjustments throughout the rest of the match. But so far, Wichita State really coming out on fire.
Yeah, the service error there from Raudsep, but that had been pretty much the theme. Set 1, more of a grind it out, feel it out type of process, then turn on the burners. In sets 2, 3, and 4, the Shockers kind of hoping to change that and put the foot down early here this afternoon.
Lael Sirianni, one of the players that we highlighted in the open to serve for ECU. And some bad timing there at the net gives a point to the Shockers.
Yeah, just a miscommunication with a Swegbu there. Essentially a swing and a miss in the middle for the sophomore.
Alex Kuhn to serve for Wichita State. Alex, 7 kills on Friday night. Big swing by Ashton Mattis, dug out by Wichita State. Likewise, Shelby Martin with a dig. Heber on the attack, but Martin was there. Long rally here in the first set, and the point finally goes to the Pirates.
That was a nice bump pass all the way up to the front to set up Mattis, as Sirianni was in the back row and put it right where she needed to, where Mattis could do something with it.
Mattis had 15 digs on Friday against Memphis. Served by Brandy Markwith. When Markwith is playing a home match, I don't think it's geographically possible to be further away from her hometown. She is from Honolulu. That is a long ride home. Lefty Bree Wood with a swing, just a freshman for ECU. And there's a kill for Tabitha Brown. Brown was on really a season-long roll, Denning. She had double-digit kills in all but 2 matches before Friday. It just shows the versatility of Wichita State, but it also shows generally the consistency of Tabitha Brown from match to match.
Yeah, that they could still get a sweep against a good team like Cincinnati with Brown having an off night really speaks to the depth, I think, that they have on the outside and the options available. Great dig there from Brown.
And Mostrom coming off a career high in digs. Went to the floor for a one-arm dig herself.
Combination of Mostrom and Chivita in the back has been very impressive as of late for Wichita State. They cover a whole lot of ground when they're out there together.
There you see Gabby, one of the many Shocker seniors. Raudsep with a bullet right down Broadway. Michaela Raudsep, for as quiet as she had been over the last couple of weeks, she's really coming on fire on this last game of this 4-game homestand.
Yeah, and I like that, getting her involved out of the back row. The block was not set up at all, not anticipating that kind of a swing from that spot. Chris Lamb has been moving her around, trying to get her on the scoreboard.
There's a pretty kill by Natalie Montini. Montini hit 500 with 10 kills in that match Friday against Memphis.
A little bit of an undersized middle, but she's very athletic. You can see there on the slide, she covered a lot of ground, still got her body reoriented to get a nice swing.
And that one just wide off of the hand of Tabitha Brown. So the Shockers have been in front from the outset, as close as East Carolina has been.
That's a
well,
kill.
how about that? That is a kill. That's right.
Just how you draw it up.
I got to believe East Carolina expected Emily Hebert to get involved in that particular overpass, but she just let it go. Brown to serve for Wichita State.
That is Gabby Mostrom's first kill of the season, in case you were wondering.
Wow. What a great effort for the Shockers. And it turns into a point. Poetic justice for that hustle right there, Denny.
Well, they earned it in more ways than one. There were a couple times that point could have been over. Chivita first sprawling out with the pancake, then a couple other players getting on the deck. Kuhn nearly went into the first row, and Raudsep eventually puts it away.
Hannah Shelton, Valley Center native, with a dig there right on cue. Kuhn through the block and over the tape barely. Good individual effort there by Alex Jessett. And no hands involved there for ECU, out. And an attack error for Wichita State.
You're seeing why both these teams rank very highly defensively. Top two in the American in terms of opponent hitting percentage. They will make you earn it. It takes sometimes more than one good swing in a particular rally to get a point.
Yeah, the Pirates hit 358 against Memphis in a 3-0 sweep on Friday. And here come the Pirates, getting a little closer. They beat Memphis 25-19, 20, and 20. And we told you at the outset, last year they were a 500 club. They already have matched the win total from a year ago. And nobody home on the ECU floor, and the Shockers break up a little mini run by East Carolina.
Pretty dang good start from Michaela Raudsep. She's already got herself 5 kills in the first 10 points for Wichita State.
They can turn to her for some heavy lifting. They have before. Their opening match in the American against Temple, she had 23 kills in that one. So she's got it in her. Big swing by Ashton Mattis, set up nicely by Shelby Martin.
A girl whose season was cut short due to injury a year ago, and they are happy to have the senior back. Only 4 double-digit kill performances this year, but she's a pretty consistent source for about 6 to 8 points a night.
Raudsep with another kill. Boy, she is on fire, and oftentimes in other sports you talk about going with the quote-unquote hot hand. I'd say that qualifies for her right now.
Yeah, the Pirates are refusing to double team her. They're just matching her up one-on-one on the outside, and the block there from Sirianni was just a little late arriving. She takes advantage.
Missed time to jump. Bree Wood did, but worked out. And Hannah Shelton couldn't quite lasso that one down in the left corner. Point Pirates.
You see a couple of lefties on the outside for ECU, and Sirianni and Bree Wood, the freshman who this ECU coaching staff is very high on, shows an advanced understanding of blocker angles and kind of how to alter her shot path.
There's a kill from Emily Hebert. She only had one of those on Friday night. There's only been 3 other matches where she had so few kills, but she gets her first one here.
Yeah, you figured it was only a matter of time before some team to start emphasizing that quick second ball over in the scouting report, saying, hey, she's getting 5 to 10 points a night doing this. We have to take it away. The Bearcats did so, but she is so good at it and disguising it.
Miscommunication combined with a poor pass leads to point Wichita State.
The margin for error against the Shockers just so thin. You really can't have multiple points percent like that where you're just giving them away.
Ball handling mistake by Shelby Martin. Kind of tried a one-handed approach. We'll take another look at it.
Trying to save it from over the top of the net, unable to do so cleanly. And the Pirates can't get into any kind of an offensive rhythm right now.
Chivita doing her thing and off the tape and down to the Pirate floor. Abby Lehman's kind of conceded to Michaela Raudsep for the first part of this match, but Wichita State leading 15-9 on WSU TV.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Shockers leading ECU after the first media timeout, 15-9. Shane and Denning here with you from the Roundhouse. Emily Hebert made a bit of history, or at least passed a milestone the other night with 44 assists, moved into second place all time in the career assist list, and with a little help and maybe some things break right, she may end up number 1 by the time the season's over.
Yeah, some pretty good names on that list. Statistically, she's got a chance to catch Mary Elizabeth Hooper for the top spot, but she would have to continue to play really well for the rest of the season.
Big time swing by Modest just inside the left pin, and it's now 15-10, so she now has 3 kills. Just out. Boy, that flirted with the tape on the back. A very rare attack error by Abby Lehman. So that call goes away, the Pirates. Tough set there by Emily Hebert, but Tabitha Brown made it pay off. Athleticism at its best right there. You don't get that angle very much.
Sometimes it doesn't matter where Tabitha Brown is swinging from because she can elevate and still get that good trajectory downward regardless of her positioning on the floor.
And Wichita State was ready for Ashton Modest there. The senior stuffed at the net.
And Abby Pugh making an instant impact off the bench, teaming with Hebert for the block assist there.
A Shocker hustle, but it turned into an ECU point regardless. Montini will get credit.
I think Raudsep was a little bit frustrated with herself earlier in the point prior to that replay. She kind of stuck an arm out to dig a ball that it looked like there was another Shocker waiting for. Could have got Wichita State back into system.
Brown once again. So it started out, Michaela Raudsep was doing the honors. Now Tabitha Brown getting into the act.
And if you get both of those pistons firing, watch out. Tabitha likes to go down the line in spots like that. When the block is set up a little bit more towards the middle, she's got a little bit of room to work with and gets the touch there.
That was a big-time mistake by ECU, and Raudsep made sure that they didn't get away with it. Another kill for Michaela. That's unofficially her 7th already.
That's what this coaching staff loves about Michaela Raudsep, is that she will just get up and hit the volleyball. Whenever there's something hanging around the net that she feels like she can put a good swing on, she will not hesitate.
And there's Modest once again, but she's had a good first set.
That arm speed really stands out. You can see the intent. She is trying to hit the ball hard, and that's a situation where even if the block is set up in a fairly good position, you can put that kind of power behind it, you'll sneak it through more times than not.
She is 4th on the team in kills, but boy, you wouldn't know it seeing her in the first set here today.
She's more of a defensive player, really. Had 15 digs against Memphis. Like I said, ECU asks a lot defensively out of their outside hitters. They treat a couple of them like true 6-rotation players.
As much as you can be here in set 1, the Shockers have been comfortably in front, and that certainly won't hurt. Another ball handling error gives the Shockers a 6-point advantage as Hannah Shelton will come in to serve.
Shelby Martin having a little bit of a rough go with a couple of assist mistakes, trying to set up other Pirates on the outside. That time 2 hits.
Through the block, point Pirates.
First kill for Sirianni, who Wichita State had kept off the board until now. If the Pirates are going to get back into this, she's going to have to play a big part.
And the Shockers answer back. Raudsep with yet another kill.
Having a career afternoon so far. That is 8 kills for her already in this first set to go along with 4 digs, leading the team in both categories.
That 23 against Temple earlier this year, that was a career high. Great effort by Hannah Shelton. Shelton now needs unofficially 6 more digs to get to 500, speaking of milestone.
Nice pass to the outside here, setting up Sirianni, who sneaks it through the block, and Michaela Raudsep with a frustrated punt of the volleyball.
No technical fouls in volleyball, fortunately. Shelton with another dig. And yep, just inside the tape, point Wichita State. Now 3 more to get for the Shocks.
Yeah, we've given a lot of credit to Mostrom and Shivita in the back row, but Hannah Shelton quietly a very solid contributor back there, about as consistent as they come, and getting a platform to a volleyball, keeping it in play, and ultimately Abby Lehman caps it off.
Hebert saw that one coming. The Shockers really have a chance to get a stranglehold on this match if they can turn this into a point. And just like that, Shockers deliver. Abby Lehman. Lehman came into the weekend 31st in the nation in attack percentage, and now ECU's Julie Torbett's going to call a timeout to try to stem the tide. Only 2 more to get for the Shockers on WSU TV.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee. Steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Cincinnati on Friday night became the latest first victim for Chris Lamb. He's now 1-1 against Cincy and trying to become 1-0 against East Carolina in their first ever meeting in volleyball. And before the match, I was trying to think, is there a more unfamiliar school in the country to Wichita State than ECU? I think they've only played once in baseball, never in men's basketball, and never in volleyball before today.
Yeah, not much to tie these two programs together prior to the move to the American. Lots of new rivalries being formed in the inaugural voyage.
Well, Wichita State has played about as clean a first set as we've seen in quite a while. And that is it, a service ace to cap it off. And Wichita State makes quick work of the Pirates here in the first set in their quest to go 10-0 in the American. First set goes the way of Wichita State. You're watching the Shockers on WSU TV.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee. Steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Shockers cruise through the first set as they take a 25-16 first set from East Carolina. And Wichita State figures to, Denning, if they can polish off ECU, ease up the rankings. They are currently at 21. There you see the top 10. Some other teams of note in the top 25 not pictured. Number 15, Oregon. Number 16, Creighton. Number 22, Iowa State. Number 23, Cal Poly. So the Shockers have got an up-close and personal look at some of the nation's best.
Yeah, when you're sitting around the top 20, you can start to at least entertain the possibility of finding your way into one of those top 16 spots, which would earn you the right to host in the NCAA tournament. The Shockers are at least in a position where if you keep winning matches, the numbers are only going to go up, and they definitely have at least an outside chance.
Fun to think about, but only are halfway through the American after this match. Shockers with 10 more after this one. So far so good for the Shockers. A great first set statistically for Wichita State. They allowed ECU to hit a little higher than opponents normally do in this building, but they executed at a high level themselves, the Shockers did. .297
hitting percentage for Wichita State. They outdug the Pirates by 10, and Michaela Routsup did pretty much a little bit of everything. 8 kills, 5 digs, and then she capped it off with back-to-back service aces to put a nice little ending flourish on that first set.
Yeah, and for a team that statistically doesn't do much in the serve game
at all.
Yeah, 2 aces to end it, and that kind of adds insult to injury for ECU.
I can't even imagine what coaches in the American are thinking if Wichita State gets some kind of a service game going where you add that into their offensive repertoire. It's a terrifying proposition, to say the least.
Well, and it's not hyperbole to say that the Shockers statistically are the league's best in almost every other category. They are literally #1 in about everything except for the service game. So, like you said, if they get that going, that'll be an embarrassment of riches.
Chris Lamb has always just been a proponent of winning the serve and pass game. He's not necessarily looking for points in it, just wants to get into rallies and then figure that his team's quality is going to bear itself out over the course of a rally.
Brown will try again, and they were ready again. So ECU with the block, and now we're even at 1 here in set 2.
Swegbu, a sophomore from Winder, Georgia, getting the hand up to deflect that one down from Tabitha Brown. She's 6th in the American in blocks per set, averaging a little more than 1.
Swegbu, middle blocker, had 5 kills and 5 blocks on Friday against Memphis, and now perhaps an injury timeout as Tabitha Brown goes toward the Shocker bench as the medical staff will tend to her.
It looked like on the block from a Swegbu that it ricocheted back, caught her in the eye, and it may have popped out a contact lens.
If that's all it is, that's certainly acceptable. I think that's a good call. Denning may have needed some solution to rinse the eye out, and she had 2 big swings there from inside the pin, Denning, and ECU was ready in both cases, and yeah, it came back and hit her right in the eye.
Well, of all the injuries you could sustain on a volleyball court, a lost contact lens, I think, is the one that I would choose.
I agree. And we've seen a few from Shocker opponents this year.
That's right.
I think Lydia Dimke from Creighton, she twisted an ankle late in that Shocker victory. Shockers leading 2-1 here in the second set.
Abby Lehman starting to work her way into this match. She's now up to 5 kills. Didn't catch that one with the normal force that we've seen from her, but still more than good enough.
Lehman to serve. We mentioned she is hanging around the top 30 in the country in attack percentage. Lehman came into this one hitting .394.
Martin has tried that little dump a couple of times, and in both cases, Wichita State has been prepared for it. She doesn't do it in the same format that Heber does, where it's elevating with one arm to tap it with a little bit more force. She tends to really try to sell it as a two-handed pass and then push it across.
Well, when you're a setter and you have 10 kills on Friday against Memphis, that'll get Chris Lamb's attention for sure. Nice dig by Shelby Martin, the freshman. Swegbu finds the sideline tape. So now ECU with a 3-2 lead.
Rowe only played in 9 matches all of last season as a freshman. Has really come on this year. Had a season high 13 kills against SMU earlier in the season.
ECU pretty strong at the net here in this set, and maybe trying to hit it over and around the block. Tabitha Brown, did that catch a fingernail? Shockers may have caught a break. That was way deep, but may have deflected off a Pirate finger at the net.
Well, everyone in black was lobbying for it initially, and you don't usually see Tabitha Brown miss by that much.
The Shockers draw even, but again, Oswegbu and Ashton Mattis both at the net. So the adjustments that we normally point out in set 2 that Chris Lamb is the one that is so good at making. You got to give a little credit to Julie Torbett, at least here in the early going. ECU seems to have a plan of attack against the Shockers at the net.
Yeah, block has been in a much better position, allowing the Pirates to get not only the blocks, but a couple deflections as well.
And now ECU has enjoyed its largest lead of the match. I said it earlier, Modis is not their leading player in kills. Not by a lot, but boy, she's having a nice match here in the early going. Roudsepp. Here's Shelby Martin again. And that's off a shocker hand, another point ECU. So now Pirates feeling it a little bit right now, Denny.
Nobody really got into system that entire point. It ended up with a lot of passes from liberos rather than setters, which is not usually how you draw it up, but Wood got enough behind it to get it off of the shocker finger.
Now, Bree Wood is one of the leaders in kills for ECU. She is second on the club. She had 9 against Memphis. Boy, that was a pretty pass from Tabitha Brown, about 25 feet away or more from Michaela Roudsepp.
And she is really starting to settle into that 6 rotation player that Coach Lamb thought that she could be, not only with the big swings that we've become accustomed to, but on the defensive side of things, ball control, distributing a little bit as well. It's fun to watch her development.
And Shelton serves wide. 7-4 Pirates. Checking in to serve is Alex Jessett, the senior defensive specialist for the Pirates. It's pretty much all Wichita State in the first set, but ECU has come back with a vengeance here in the second set. That was a pretty darn good effort by ECU. It looked like, was that Shelby Martin at the net that purposely batted it back just to try to keep it going?
It was, yep.
A little after that right there.
Hallow in the back row, who couldn't quite get enough on it.
Joust won at the net by the Pirates.
And normally you like your odds there, Lehman against the setter Martin, but she's able to win the joust.
Martin, as we pointed out, just a freshman. Well, you don't see Wichita State look like this very often, especially at home. But ECU taking advantage. Credit the Pirates.
And a rare miscue from Hannah Shelton on the overpass. Typically about as good as they come in the serve-receive game.
That point goes to Wichita State. Wichita State, as we know, senior heavy. They got a bunch of them. Now, East Carolina, not quite as many, but they depend quite a bit on seniors. Montini, Modis, Sirianni, Jessett, all those players are seniors for the Pirates, so this is their last go-around as well. Well, we've seen a lot of overpasses.
That time the Shockers were the beneficiary on, well, it looked like it was setting up to be another joust at the net, but they got Martin, I think, for 2 hits.
So a tenuous lead for ECU here in the second set. We showed you that graphic at the very top of the telecast that the Shockers, in their 9 victories in the league, had swept their opponents 6 times. But if they're going to make it 7, they got a little work to do, the Shockers do, because ECU has figured some stuff out here in the second set.
Wichita State has only dropped 3 sets total since the start of conference play. They have rarely encountered resistance, and Abby Lehman has been a big reason why. 6th kill for her. Nice job by Hannah Shelton setting up Hebert in the middle, and that is about as textbook as they come.
See if the Shockers can go on a little bit of a run here. Been trading points for ECU at best here in the second set. The Pirates really have controlled everything here in the second set. Kept Wichita State from going on those scoring runs.
Swegbu continuing to assert her will in the middle. Good leaper. Still kind of learning the ins and outs of the middle position, but you can see the potential. She impacts the game, both offensively and defensively.
Oswegbu wearing number 99. She's already got 3 kills today. The Shockers get the side out and point.
Hebert having some success with that quick second ball over as they got the Pirates for a lift.
Abby Lehman, preseason all-conference player, serving for Wichita State. And that one by Sirianni right into the net. So now the Shockers have been as close as they've been for a while.
Pass forced Sirianni to kind of reorient her body away from the net, and she was off balance with that swing the whole way.
Martin sets up Oswegbu. The Shockers laying in wait for that. Quick in the middle, and ECU returns the favor. Shocker in the net, perhaps. Point ECU. Bree Wood kind of reminds you a little bit of Tabitha Brown in that they're both only 5'10", and there you see Bree, the left-handed swinger for ECU. They both can really jump.
And Wood has been very good, hitting .360 over her last 5 matches. The lefty has a little bit of deception in her swing. Tabitha Brown has some of that as well, but her big game is power.
And apparently Tabitha Brown's vision is just fine. Big swing leads to a Shocker point. They're within 1. And Oswegbu right there, the quick for Toya Oswegbu. Again, the Shockers, Denning, just can't get one of those 3, 4, or 5 point runs that we're so accustomed to seeing, especially here at home.
Credit to the Pirates. They're clearly staying in the kind of system that they want to be in, playing their kind of game, getting Oswegbu chances and taking advantage of some uncharacteristic Shocker mistakes.
So Brandy Markwith, the sophomore from Hawaii, to serve for ECU. Sophomore libero, 40 digs earlier in a match this season. Here we see Abby Pugh with a swing. Brown with another point. You know, Denning, we haven't seen a whole lot of, even though she started, we haven't seen a whole lot of Alex Kuhn and Abby Pugh, who we highlighted at the very top of the show. She's been kind of quiet as well.
Yeah, they tried to get her involved. She's got herself 7 swings, but only 1 kill to show for it. As Tabitha Brown took advantage of the block not arriving in time and some empty court down the line.
I don't want to belabor the point. We got a timeout. We'll talk about it when we come back. East Carolina leading the Shockers in set 2, trying to knot it up at 2 apiece on WSU TV.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Shockers got their hands full here in the second set as East Carolina has led virtually throughout after a thoroughly dominating performance by Wichita State in the first set. Denning and I talked a little bit earlier about the RPI and where you have to be in order to host. The Shockers right on the cusp right now. The top 16 get the first round at their place, and Wichita State on the outside looking in at the moment, but we learned before the match started, Denning, that one of those teams, Creighton, who is in the top 16 or 17, did not put in a bid. So in other words, the Shockers normally would have to be in the top 16. That non-bid by Creighton gives them one extra spot in the RPI as a buffer, I guess.
Yeah, and that really strong non-conference schedule that they played is ultimately what's going to give them a chance to hang around that top 16. Cal Poly, Oregon, Iowa State, Creighton, a lot of good opponents on that schedule.
Modest with a changeup. What an effort by Emily Hebert. I was just getting ready to say before we went to break, Denning, that Shockers need to kind of change things up a little bit. They've been a little lethargic, a little sloppy here in the second set, and the score reflects that.
Right before that point, they got a big block from Alex Kuhn, but Montini, who hasn't had a bunch of opportunities, has been very efficient. She's got 7 kills on her 10 swings.
So let's see if the Shockers can put a little something together. Alex Kuhn with the kill, but Wichita State still looking up at ECU.
You mentioned that she had been quiet. That was just her first kill of the match. Sneaks it off of a couple of Pirate hands.
The Shockers held their previous 3 opponents on this homestand attack percentage to 071, 054, and 194. But right now, ECU is hitting a more than respectable 266. And so Wichita State will have that to work on during the intermission.
And they're getting it from a variety of different sources. Whether it's been Montini or Sirianni or Swegbu, even Wood mixed in there a little bit. They've had a bunch of different girls getting involved.
Kind of an awkward swing and a attack error by Shelby Martin. In home matches this season, not counting the match against Cincinnati, opponents had only hit 128 in this building. So what ECU's doing right now is pretty impressive, especially compared to the others that have come and gone here at Charles Koch Arena. Mata smacks one into the net, and here come Wichita State. They're within 1.
And offense hadn't really been the Pirates' calling card coming in. They were 8th in assists, 5th in kills. Just a team that had mostly relied on balance and their ability to block and alter shots at the net.
Big swing there by Sirianni. The lead back to 2 for ECU. Nostrom will check in for Alex Kuhn.
A one-on-one matchup to the outside there with Hebert, and plenty of room in the middle of the court for Sirianni, the lefty, to slide that one home.
4 kills for Sirianni. And a tremendous touch by Abby Lehman. Normally she's the one with a big swing, but I think she saw something there for ECU, Denny.
They're coming around on the slide there, and she's typically so good at thundering that towards the back row, but it looked like the Pirates were well positioned. Modest was set up right where she typically strikes that ball, and so she took a little bit off.
And just when it looks like that Wichita State is poised to tie this thing up, ECU answers. They've played a really solid second set. Loudsepp hits it wide. And now ECU maybe gets a whiff of tying this thing up at 1 set apiece. They only need 5 more, and that prompts a timeout from Chris Lamb. So ECU leading 20-17 after Wichita State cruised in the first set. Denny, I know you'll be planning ahead to grab some spooky good deals on Shocker gear at the University Bookstore. It's the Spooktacular Patio Sale. It'll be on Wednesday the 25th and Thursday the 26th. There you see from 10 to 2. It's at the Radigan Student Center's North Patio. So if you're in need for some new Shocker gear, here's your chance to get some spooky good deals at the University Bookstore. And speaking of that, probably update our wardrobe going from the Valley to the American. I'm sure they'll have some American garb in there too, and that we'll have to phase out the old Missouri Valley Conference stuff.
You know I can't resist a spooky good deal, Shane.
I could tell. Well, and as far as that's concerned, it's been spooky how good ECU has played in the second set, considering how Wichita State handled them in set one. Not that they would just go away, but really ECU doing almost everything right in the second set.
Yeah, they're playing their game. They're getting the ball to their hitters who can do some damage. They have really, I think, taken away a lot of Wichita State's offense. Swegbu has been a major influence in the middle. Her ability to get high hands has altered a number of shots.
Tabitha Brown with a bullet, and I think talking about at the net, ECU was expecting a quick in the middle right there, and Tabitha Brown caught him unaware.
Yeah, if you're looking in the middle and then Tabitha Brown has a one-on-one opportunity on the outside, she is going to take advantage more times than not. And while you definitely have to respect either Lehman or in that case Pugh, ultimately I think Wichita State is more than capable and more than comfortable with getting Tabitha Brown a swing like that.
Freshman Brooke Smith has checked in for Wichita State, the Goddard native. And Mattis turned away initially by Hebert, and Brown sends it across. Quick to Swegbu. Boy, ECU's had an answer for everything Wichita State's offered up here in the second set.
And that wasn't even necessarily by design there for ECU. I don't think that's the kind of swing they were looking for from Swegbu. The pass was off to her right, but she still made the adjustment.
Mark with the serve for ECU. There's been some strong net play for the Pirates here in the second set. Now they only need 3 more.
Montini and Mattis combining on the block there. Both just 6 foot. The middles for ECU kind of undersized. Montini's 6 foot and Swegbu's just 5'11", but they can elevate.
Wichita State, a heads-up play there to get within 3. They needed that one. ECU goes up 23-18. That's the odds are pretty long, but Wichita State gets the point, gets the side out. See if they can reel off a couple in a row here. Hannah Shelton to serve. After an earlier service error, Bree Wood with a big swing. Shockers there to answer. A nice job by Markwith to keep it alive. You can see that one coming at Denning. That was a pivotal point. If Wichita State, again, gives that point back to East Carolina, it would be really tough to survive the second set.
Pirates had a number of opportunities to put that one away. Most notably, Bree Wood had a fairly good swing from the far side, and the Shockers turned it aside, ultimately take advantage of the overpass as Kuhn tips it down.
I'm not exactly sure if the Shockers, have they led at all in this set? Sure doesn't seem like it, and certainly not lately. It would have had to been very early if they took a lead at all in this second set.
ECU jumped ahead 3-2, so if they did lead, it was before that.
A rare attack error for the Pirates. Leads to a Shocker point. And a timeout called by Julie Torbett. So getting right down to it, Wichita State trying to go up 2-0. They'll need to rally to do it. You're watching the Shockers on WSU TV.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Well, East Carolina had Wichita State, I don't know if on the brink is the right phrase, Denning, but it's certainly on their heels at different times late in this second set, but Wichita State's crawled back in it.
And any of the last 3 points that Wichita State has won, if that goes the other way, yeah, it's probably the end of the set for all intents and purposes. But the Shockers have made big plays when they've had to. They still have a couple more to make.
The Shockers have scored the last 3. Nice dig by Mark With in the back. Hebert sets up Roudset. There's the run we were looking for. 4 in a row by Wichita State. Now we're even.
And remember, Michaela got off to such a hot start in set 1. She had kind of cooled off. The hitting percentage was down around 200, but when they needed a point, that's who they went to.
A one-arm dig by Chivita. Foils Modest for the moment. But ECU answers.
And Roudset's a little shaken up. She went hard into the bench. And she really didn't get back into this play. It was a mismatch that ECU was able to take advantage of. You can't fault the effort.
Natalie Montini with a big kill for ECU.
Well, she's fine, I guess.
I guess so. Not much margin for error at this point in the set, and Roudset, who went tumbling into the Shocker bench with a big swing.
She still doesn't look right. She's getting some kind of attention now from the Shocker medical staff. Cut her hand, maybe?
Kat Hollowell has been a lot busier than she would care to be here in the early going, and maybe a cut on her mouth as well. Shocker training staff had to help out Tabitha Brown after a contact got loose, and now a little blood on the hand and or the mouth of Michaela Roudset. 23-23 is your score, so we get to catch our breath here a little bit after the tumble that she took just a moment ago.
It almost looked like she stumbled right before she went into that set of chairs. Not that you ever really want to have to run full bore into chairs anyway, but looked like she may have just clipped her feet right before she made contact, and that caused her to land rather awkwardly.
All right, so both teams got to regroup a little bit in what's been a tension-filled second set. ECU has led virtually throughout, but the Shockers have tied it up. They went on a little 4-0 run, the Shockers did. Just a moment ago, ECU took a 23-22 lead before Roudset's kill, and now she's going to eventually go out. So Chivita to serve. Two players got set up in the middle there for ECU. Modest, not her best swing. Quick in the middle. A lot of attacks from the outside ECU has been ready for, so quick in the middle might be a good tonic, and that was the point for Abby Lehman there.
Yeah, we hadn't heard from Lehman in a while, but she got matched up one-on-one somehow in the middle with Montini, and she's going to take advantage of that more times than not. A thunderous kill, and now the Shockers with a chance for quite the rally.
Chivita to serve for set point. Not so fast. Natalie Montini on a quick from Shelby Martin has tied it up at 24.
Well, that's what a senior's supposed to do. Come up in a spot like that and leave no doubt, as there was a bit of a gap in the middle there between Lehman and Raudsep sliding over.
I was just going to point out Raudsep back in there for the Shockers. Lehman again has the Shockers on the brink of 2-0.
Well, this time East Carolina tried to attribute 2 blockers to her, but it didn't matter. The power and off the hand and down.
Raudsep to do the honors. Set point. Well, we've seen a few of these over the last 3 weeks or so.
And it's just the 2 middles going at it right now, Montini and Lehman. Montini there tried the initial little finesse shot that didn't work as Chivita was there, but on the overpass she was able to finally put it away.
Back and forth we go. Crowd rises to its feet in the hopes of Wichita State finally putting away the Pirates. Lehman with yet another kill.
Pirates can't seem to stop her right now. I'd be surprised if Wichita State goes anywhere else.
The war of attrition that was the second set goes to the Shockers. 2-0 as they go to the locker room. Wichita State took ECU's best shot the entire set, Denny.
Abby Lehman fittingly gets to cap it off with the block. Shockers up 2-0.
We'll be back with more on WSU TV after this.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Shockers up 2-0 here on this Sunday afternoon over East Carolina. Coming off a career-high 16 digs on Friday night. We had a chance to catch up earlier with senior Gabby Mostrom from Wichita State.
Growing up, I went to a private school. My parents wanted me to try all the different kinds of sports, so I did everything from swimming and t-ball and basketball and soccer. And then I started doing volleyball when I was in 5th grade. I played with my older sister, Danny, and she really loved it and I really loved it, and we just kind of stuck with it. We ended up quitting all the other sports and just continuing with volleyball. Well, this is my first year of college not playing with her, so it's definitely different. I have learned so much from her. She's been such a big role model in my life for volleyball and even off the court. So transitioning to playing without her has been different, but I think it's also been good for me because I need to learn how to be on my own, be independent, kind of figure out how I play without her. But yeah, it's something that I'll always cherish. I'll always have those memories with her, like playing on the court. Well, Coach Lamb, I'd say he's kind of a crazy genius in a sense. A lot of the stuff he does, you wouldn't see a lot of other coaches in this sport doing maybe. Even when he has something that's really great, he's still looking for other options to see if he can improve it even more. So I think that's one of the reasons why we have been so successful, is he always wants more and he's always pushing us to do better. He definitely keeps you on your toes, but I'd say I've learned more about volleyball than I ever have here at Wichita State. It's frustrating at times, you know, you want the coach's approval, you want their praise, and sometimes you're not going to get it. You're always going to be pushed and be told that you need to do better. It can be frustrating at times, but in the end, overall, I would say it's rewarding because we're winning and that's the ultimate goal. Probably my best example would be take Abby Lehman. She's an All-American middle player, and I think if any other coach in the country had Abby Lehman on their team, they'd keep her in that spot. But for Lambeau, this season, he actually tried putting her on the right side and seeing if she could be a 6th rotation player and play all the way around and hit from the back row. And I just think he tries to analyze things from a different perspective more than other coaches do. As a team with so many players, we've had to learn to accept that this is just how it's going to be. And overall, you know, we want what's best for the team, and that's what he's trying to do as well. So we just really have to put all of our trust in him. So yeah, it is difficult because we're in the middle of our season and you'd think we'd kind of have a set lineup down, but to this day, this weekend, we're still going to have some changes. Even from set to set in a match, he makes changes. So yeah, it's just something that everyone has to learn how to do because that's just how it's going to be at Wichita State. Doing this for 4 years, spending every single day with these girls, they've become my sisters, and I would know because I played with my sister. We're a big family, and so what I'm going to miss the most is just every single one of them. Just, you know, through all these hard times and these amazing times, we've built a really special bond, and I think that's what I'll miss the most.
And Mostrom with 6 digs here in this match with ECU. You wonder how much the Pirates have left in the tank after an emotional set 2 goes the way of the Shockers. We'll find out shortly. You're watching the Shockers on WSU TV.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee. Steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Welcome back to Charles Koch Arena, Shocker Volleyball here on WSU TV. Denning, what we've seen previously, statistically, past the first set is teams, in a sense, crumbling at the hands of Wichita State with the adjustments the Shockers have made and the efficiency in which they operate on offense, but that hasn't happened here this afternoon.
Saw pretty much the exact opposite of that in set 2. The Pirates came out firing and really gave it to the Shockers for the majority of that second set. They were dictating the terms of how it was to be played, and then after a timeout, Wichita State just kind of flipped the switch. Hannah Shelton sparked that big run with her serving. The Shockers, I think most importantly, got Abby Lehman involved, and once they found out that East Carolina couldn't stop her in the middle, they just kept feeding her, and I think she was kind of the driving force that gave Wichita State a chance to rally.
Well, Michaela Raudsep and Abby Lehman both got into double figures in kills. The lion's share of the swings for ECU was Ashton Modis, and after a fast start, she kind of cooled off, and Natalie Montini kind of came to the fore.
Yeah, the Shockers took away Modis. They have forced her into 4 attack errors already. She's hitting 0-37, but we had that stretch late in the second set where it was just Lehman and then Montini and then Lehman and Montini going back and forth. Watching the middles go at it was really fun to watch, and the Shockers ultimately got the better of it.
And Wichita State, in case you missed it, had to have a little 4-0 run late in the second set just to get back in within shouting distance, because it was pretty much all ECU in that second set until the very, very end.
Yeah, Swegbu, who you saw there, had a big part in it. She was really altering a bunch of shots. She had a couple blocks and put away a couple thunderous kills as well. The Pirates were looking good, and the Shockers seemed out of rhythm, but as good teams so often do, as veteran teams so often do in their home building, they found their footing at the right time.
Well, the Shockers, if they do put away ECU in this set, and it only goes 3, they are kind of in the neighborhood of a season high in digs in a 3-set match. They currently have 50 right now. They had 73 in a 3-set match earlier against Iowa State, so that's certainly within reach. But it goes back to what you and I have been saying for about the last 2 weeks or so. Everybody gets on the floor for Wichita State if necessary, and we're seeing it again today.
Only 2 players who have played any amount of minutes in this have not recorded a dig. Abby Pugh, Chase Jackson, and then I suppose Brooke Smith, who came on late in that second set. But anyone who has been on the court for a sizable amount of time this afternoon has literally been on the court digging a ball at some point.
Georgia Chivita, not surprisingly, leading with 13. We mentioned Mostrom with 6. Going to that last break, Hannah Shelton with 7 digs as well. And Hannah now is within 4 of 500 for her career. So Brooke Smith, who got into the match late in the second set, will start on the floor for Wichita State here in what they hope is the final set of the afternoon. There you see Hannah Shelton, the Valley Center native, one of the many seniors that we continue to hear from during the intermission, and good job by Gabby Mostrom. We heard from her just a few minutes ago. So East Carolina getting set to try to stave off elimination here in the third set. Swegbu in the middle, kind of mistimed her jump. Maybe you hit that with her forearm, and it turns into a point Wichita State, the attack error by Swegbu.
That's kind of what I'm talking about when I say that Swegbu is still trying to learn the ins and outs of the middle position. We have seen her, when she's at her best, it's almost unstoppable in the middle with her ability to time jumps and put away big swings. But there are other times in which there's miscommunication, and she's just not on the same page with her setter.
Well, and here's the other thing you got to consider, too. Shelby Martin's a freshman, and Swegbu's a sophomore.
Right.
Emily Hebert and Abby Lehman, basically it's unfair for everybody else. Those guys have been together for 8 years at the very least. So they know exactly, obviously, Hebert knows the level to which to set. Is it going to be a quick or is it going to be a rainbow? And it's almost an unspoken kind of thing that they know exactly what the other one's going to do, and that's just going to take time for ECU.
Yeah, it'll get better over the course of their careers, and they'll have at least 3 more years together to kind of learn those ins and outs. But yeah, it doesn't hurt when you have players who played together in high school setting each other and then putting away kills.
That timing is just something that you can't put a price on. I mean, how often do you see Abby Lehman take a bad swing or hit it off her forearm or don't get a clean swipe? Pretty much never.
Bree Wood, the freshman who put away that last kill for ECU, going to be another one of those cogs that I think the Pirates will need to kind of continue to develop.
And pretty much right on cue right there, Hebert to Lehman, and what they've done, I'm sure, thousands of times. Good start for the Shockers in the third set. Bree Wood through the block. Wood came into the match, again, second on the club in kills. She had 9 against Memphis. And her attack percentage on the season, a very respectable 298 coming in.
That's really good for a freshman outside hitter. Typically, you're going to have to live with a bunch of mistakes, just hitting it right into the net, mistiming jumps. But for a freshman, I think she is a really cerebral player, understands the position and what is required of her.
Another one of the underclassmen, Brandy Markwith, just a sophomore to serve for ECU.
It's kind of odd roster composition for East Carolina. They don't have really any junior contributors, so it's either those seniors who are going to be moving on or freshmen and sophomores. That was likely headed out, but Alex Kuhn just couldn't get out of the way in time.
So 2 quick ones in succession for ECU. Has it tied up, and Abby Lehman takes care of that. Lehman with another kill.
She's now got the game high in that category with 12. And a nice job there by Hebert, recognizing on the dig that it was traveling at a lower trajectory and that the block may not be set up in time, and so she goes with the quick ball, a little bit flatter pass to Lehman.
Lehman had 18 kills on Friday. And we've discussed this before, obviously, Denning, with the balance that Wichita State chooses to play with. You could set up Lehman over and over and over again if you so choose, but the 18 being a season high in kills might be a little bit of a head scratcher at first, but just kind of proves our point a little bit.
Yeah, I think the term that you used the other night, they don't force feed her. They let those opportunities come organically. They recognize what the opponent is doing to kind of take her away, because opponents absolutely are going to take her away. That's just the nature of being an All-American. You're going to be at the top of everyone's scouting report, and then the Shockers have to adjust accordingly.
Well, the resiliency for ECU has certainly come to the fore here this afternoon, and we're starting to see why. These guys are 15-6. They're having a solid season.
Been impressed with their ability at the net. That was Martin and Montini on the block assist as Tabitha Brown tried to sneak it by, but Abby Lehman has had no such problems tonight.
So that's Lehman's 13th. Her career high is 21. That came against Missouri State back in 2015. So again, to consider that she is in the top 30 in attack percentage, yet hasn't gotten to 20 kills in a match yet this year. We'll see if that materializes here in the third set. Hebert covered a lot of ground to set up Tabitha Brown there. Markwith with a dig. As she can do it from all over.
That was just what Mostrom talked about in the package, is that
right.
Wichita State has been trying to move her around a little bit, get her on the outside, and like you said, you have an All-American middle. Typically, you just leave her there, let her get her points there, but Chris Lamb trying to create some more opportunities for her to score, and that swing looked okay.
Well, not a bad idea by Shelby Martin. Again, we highlighted her at the top. She had 10 kills against Memphis, the ECU setter, and a heads-up play right there to get ECU within 1.
And not really a typical setter attack either. She turned and absolutely squared that ball up. It was not so much a guiding effort as it was a full swing.
That was almost a disaster for Wichita State. That one crawled along the tape and eventually found the Shocker Florida and knocked this one up at 7.
You see why Montini is so efficient. She's got herself 12 kills and 20 swings so far this afternoon. 5th in the conference in hitting percentage coming in. Had 17 kills earlier this year against South Florida. She really picks her spots well.
And that goes wide, and ECU with a brief lead. Yeah, they have 4 players, ECU does, that average 2 kills per set or better. Michaela Raudsep.
Working on a double-double now. She's already got the 10 digs and now 12 kills as she comes from the back row. Just elevates and hammers that one home.
Emily Hebert serve for the Sharks. Sirianni through the block. Again, credit ECU. Every time Wichita State, it's a punch-counter-punch thing since the first set. It was all Wichita State in set one, but these two teams are trading haymakers since.
Chivita with an excellent effort to keep that ball alive, but unfortunately she couldn't get back into the defensive position as that quick swing in the middle put it down.
Off the slide, Brooke Smith almost had herself a kill. Raudsep has played a pretty efficient floor game for the Shockers as they tie it up at 9.
Yeah, this is the Michaela Raudsep we saw in flashes earlier this season. And when she is on, this offense goes to another level.
Raudsep has matched her season high in digs. Denning told you she's got a double-double. Only the second time she's had 10 digs in a match, and that one just deep off the serve by Wichita State. Flirted with the tape, but ECU forges in front. Shelby Martin to serve, the freshman. Well, that wasn't a thing of beauty, but they'll take it.
Look what I found for Alex Kuhn, kind of a lunging, running attack. She was off balance, and the pass from Hebert, she did everything she could just to get that in a spot where Kuhn could do anything with it. Now, Swegbu looked like she was right there, but the Shockers catch a bit of a break.
Back and forth we continue to go here in the third set. The Shockers up 2-0. Won the first set 25-16 and looked dominant doing it. They had to have a furious rally in the second set, Wichita State did, to win 27-25. Well, Swegbu, kind of at the last minute, had to send it over. And the Shockers take advantage again. Abby Lehman with her 15th kill.
And a really good serve from Chivita that set that whole thing up. And then she even makes a nice pass setting up Hebert as the Shockers take their lead.
Martin sent it over, trying to surprise the Shockers. Quick in the middle. ECU's tied it back up. Oswegbu. Oswegbu already more kills this afternoon than she had all night Friday against Memphis. She had those 5 kills. She is capable. She had 13 kills in a match against SMU. And Alex Kuhn with her second consecutive put away.
We saw her get a kill on a somewhat unorthodox, awkward swing earlier. This one a lot more in rhythm. Nice pass from Hebert, and Kuhn gets it, I think, off a fingertip, but it wasn't going to matter. That ball was headed down anyway.
And a Shocker service ace by Michaela Raudsep.
3 of those for her this afternoon. She capped off the first set with a pair of them to give Wichita State that first set victory, and now gives the Shockers a 2-point lead here in set number 3.
Raudsep only had 2 service aces all season before today. Almost a miraculous save by Alex Kuhn after 2 previous ones. Point and side out to ECU.
You're almost surprised when they don't keep those up. They've made digs and saves like that with such regularity.
Brandy Markwith to serve for the Pirates. And Markwith was there instead of Lehman. They go to Kuhn. And Bree Wood with a kill. Bree Wood, the freshman lefty.
Don't see many teams who deploy a couple of southpaws on the outside. Wood and Serrani, the two lefties. The Pirates get themselves a much needed kill to even things up.
Alex Kuhn coming to life. So early on in the match, it was Raudsep, then it was Lehman, now Alex Kuhn joining the party.
6 kills for her now on 19 total swings as she starts to work her way into this, and you get the sense that that is a Chris Lamb adjustment, recognizing what ECU is trying to take away and adjusting accordingly.
Matas with the attack error. She's been quiet since the first set. And the Shockers at the media timeout leading by 2. So Wichita State trying to bring this match to a close, lead it by 2. You're watching the Shockers on WSU TV.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Wichita State trying to put the finishing touches on this one. They've gotten a tussle from the Pirates of East Carolina in the two schools' first all-time meeting. Shane Dennis, Denning Gehrig here at the Roundhouse. Shockers trying to move to 10-0 in the American. After today, we'll be halfway through the league slate. And Wichita State with a block at the net, and that gives them a 3-point advantage.
Wichita State hadn't needed to utilize the block much throughout these first 2+ sets. They only had 3. But Lehman and Brown teaming up to get one there.
Kill by Emily Hebert. Alex Kuhn's had herself a nice third set, hasn't she? With presence at the net and a couple of kills.
It's been a very Alex Kuhn set, I think. Not trying to do too much. When she gets a pass that she can put a full swing on, she absolutely does. But she is also very good at recognizing when a pass doesn't present an opportunity to take one of those go-for-broke swings. Just puts enough on it to keep it in play.
Service error gives ECU a side out in the point. Alex Kuhn, 6 kills in 19 swings, behind Lehman's 15 and Raudsep's 13.
It's been a good bounce-back match.
Speaking of kills.
Yeah. Good bounce-back match for Tabitha Brown. She had, as you mentioned, been a little bit quiet on Friday, but Raudsep and Brown both into the double figures now, and that is a great sign for Wichita State.
Mostrom with the dig. Between Mostrom and Tabitha Brown, there's some evil intentions behind those swings.
I don't know how that Wichita State turned that initial rally into a big swing from Tabitha Brown.
Exactly.
It looked like a salvage situation where you're just trying to free a ball over, and instead Tabitha got a pretty good swing out of it.
She sure did, and I mentioned it earlier in the match. She takes absolute howitzer swings on balls that come at her from angles that aren't right tight to the net. I mean, they're coming from all over the place, and she still turns them into good swings.
Speaking of, Brooke Smith giving the Shockers a nice contribution there with the kill. She had kind of worked her way out of the rotation a little bit in the early part of conference play. But if Wichita State is going to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament, they'll need depth, and she's a big part of that.
So the Shockers put a little something together here late in the third, trying to pull away and put away ECU. That'll be a point for the Pirates. They came into this one 15-6 overall, 7-2 in the league, and it continues to be, through the first half anyway, Wichita State, SMU, and ECU in the upper echelon of the American. So now that we are halfway through and going toward the home stretch, we'll see if East Carolina can stick around.
And SMU lost to Temple earlier today, so everyone in the league now has at least 2 losses aside from Wichita State.
So Tabitha Brown doing the honors just inside the pin. Another kill for her, and the Shockers with 4 more to get. This would be, of the 10 victories that the Shockers have in the American, this would be the 7th sweep. Certainly didn't look that way about midway through the second set, but the Shockers prevailed and now looking to bury the Pirates.
You had an opportunity there for bury the treasure, but you passed up on it.
Coon strikes again. She's got 7 kills. ECU's going to call a timeout. So the Shockers, oh so close to going to a perfect 10-0. We'll find out when we come back on WSU TV.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Shockers have had their hands full at times here today, especially in that second set that you see, but they've been up to the task so far. They'll make that Florida swing next weekend against UCF and USF before the Shockers come back home for 2 to start the month of November. A good kill by ECU to get within 22-17. Sirianni, the put away, that's her 7th unofficially. Wichita State needing only 3 more to get to go to 10-0 in the league. Brooke Smith with a heads-up play. So on Friday, Denning, we saw Abby Pugh get her moment in the limelight, and now Brooke Smith taking advantage of some PT.
Been kind of a rotation between Brooke Smith, Abby Pugh, and Emma Wright as far as freshmen who are kind of working into that middle rotation as to who wants to back up Abby Lehman. And on any given night, any one of those 3, I think, is more than capable of giving the Shockers some big points.
That's something I don't think we've probably talked about enough. Lehman and Hebert get their due as they should. Michaela Roudsepp, certainly, Gabby Mostrom. They're all seniors. So if you're a freshman coming into the program this particular year, it's going to be hard to crack that lineup or at least get some meaningful minutes out there. But those 3 that you just mentioned have made their way.
And what you can do is you can absolutely learn from those 2, learn from the other seniors, watch them go about their business, and just kind of take those skills to utilize in the remainder of your career. But with all that being said, there is still ample opportunities to contribute into the rotation, just not necessarily on the volume that Hebert and Lehman are going to get.
Emma Wright, redshirt freshman, she'll be back. Alex Kuhn, just a sophomore. Tabitha Brown's a junior. I think it's really easy to forget that Gio Chivita is just a redshirt freshman. She plays on the back row like she's been here for a long time.
It really does. And, of course, she played a little bit last year before that knee injury put away her season for good. A very tragic one. You can see there she's wearing that heavy brace on her right knee, but plays with experience, understands the game. She had played a lot in Italy before arriving in Wichita.
And there she is with another dig on the back, and Abby Lehman turned away, at least for the moment. Shockers with 2 more to get. So Wichita State will finish up this 4-game homestand. They'll stay undefeated, barring a miracle by ECU. They'll hit the road for 2, as we mentioned earlier. Then UConn and Temple come here the 3rd and the 5th. And then Wichita State will play 5 of their final 6 away from home. But the crowd that has come out here this afternoon on its feet, looking for match point. And Michaela Roudsepp to do the honors. Shockers 1 away from 10-0. Nice little change of pace by the Pirates. Swegbu makes it 24-19. Brandy Marquette to serve. The Shockers are 10-0 in the American. They improved to 18-3 overall. They most likely will crack the top 20 in the rankings when they come out tomorrow. We'll be back. You're watching the Shockers on WSU TV.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Quiet 4-10 in the 3rd set. The Shockers did so. But I think, Denning, more than anything else, this match today was about ECU's grit and putting up a bigger fight than maybe anybody we've seen this side of Iowa State in this building.
I think pretty clearly this weekend has illustrated that the Shockers are going to have a target on their back and that they're going to get the best shot from everyone in this conference. They're the top dog right now, and it's going to take an opponent's best match for not only 1 set, but 3 sets. ECU gave it all they had in set 2, and it just kind of felt like deflating when they weren't able to take advantage of that. The Shockers then really kicked things into gear offensively in the 3rd set. We saw Abby Lehman just put on an absolute show. The numbers very reflective of that, a .331 hitting percentage, and the effort continues on the defensive side as well. 69 digs for them.
Just 4 short of a season high in 3 set in the dig department. The Shockers there you see out digging East Carolina by plenty. They exploded in that 3rd set, hitting .410, as I mentioned, to finish up at .331 for the match and holding East Carolina to just .227. But that's certainly, as we mentioned, statistically better than any other team that's come in here this side of Iowa State as far as the attack percentage. So the Shockers go to 10-0 and 18-3 overall for Denning Gehrig. Shane Dennis saying thanks for watching today. Shockers win it 3-0. Hope everybody has a tremendous rest of their Sunday.